Hey guys, I had somebody request that I do a lesson, a short little video on finding surface area, so let's get to it. Okay guys, so here we go. So we're talking about surface area, which is roughly a 6th grade concept and pretty much anywhere that I have seen. So up until this point, students have been learning about 2D shapes, okay? Find an area of 2D shapes. 2D shapes being just a simple square or rectangle or whatever. Now we are going to be making it a 3D shape. So 2D has length and width. 3D shapes, you're bringing up height, okay? So we have now looking at, and I'm just going to do a rough sketch here, where we have a 3D shape, okay? And we have faces all over, and sometimes they're different measurements, okay? So our first step that we have to do is we have to recognize our final shape. So we can look at this and know that it is a rectangular prism. Granted, in this instance, it tells you, sometimes it doesn't, okay? But a rectangular prism, this is not a great example, but it is an example. If you notice, we have two sides that are the same, which if this was sitting up, this would be the front and the back. Have the top and the bottom, and then we have the sides, okay? So you kind of know what a rectangular prism looks like, okay? Now, for actual rectangular prism, not normally the faces, the side, front, back sides are all going to be the same size, and then the two ends are going to be the same size, okay? So that's what we have here. So then we have fill out any missing values. We're going to do that in just a moment. I'm going to kind of go through this first. Then we are going to use the area formula, which is length times width, to determine the area of the sides. And then it's like we have to put them all together and calculate, okay? So I'm actually going to go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you need that, the notes. We're actually going to work it out on the other side. Again, this is actually a released EOG question from the 6th grade math EOG, okay? So we're going to go ahead and come over here and we're going to look at this. Now, we have, first we've talked about it being a rectangular prism. It actually tells us that right here. Then we are going to fill in any missing sides, okay? So this is the part where students seem to get confused. So if I have two, I know this is a square, and I'm actually going to spread that out a little bit while I write, just to make it easier to write on. So if I know this is 2, then I know that is 2, okay? I'm going to do that little. And I know this is 2 meters, and I know that's 2 meters, but I don't really need that because all I need is a length and a width, okay? Remember we talked about these sides were all the same. So if I know that is 4 meters, or no, this is 4 meters, and this is 4 meters, and this is 4 meters, okay? Now, I know that even though these are sides and fronts and backs and all the things, they're all the same height, for lack of a better word, same distance from here to here. So we know that all these lines right here are going to be 2. So we have enough information now to find the area of each of these sides, okay? So now remember, and again, I totally recognize this is where students get confused. We are finding the area of the sides, okay? And we are finding the area of the rectangle that is the top and bottom. Okay, so let's do that first. For our area of our sides, and remember we talked about that area is length times width. Okay, and we'll actually kind of put that. My length and my width for the sides, because those are square, is 2 times 2, which is 4. So my area of each of these sides are 4. So I could do it 2 ways. I could just kind of keep up with that, or I could go in, if it helps me, and I could write a 4 right here and here. And that just helps me keep up with that, okay? Now, I call them faces, okay? meaning my rectangles, okay? My my front, back, top, bottom. All right, we're still going to have that area equals length times width. And in this instance, one of those measurements is 4 and one of the measurements is 2. It does not matter which is which. So we have 4 times 2, which is 8. So each of the measurements of my rectangle is 8. So I've had some students that want to go ahead and fill that in. And then I've had some students that will say, okay, well, my sides, I have 2 of them. And so 2 times 4 is 8. And then my faces, or in this case, my rectangles, it doesn't matter what you call them, as long as your student knows what they're talking about. Okay, I'm not sure why that little thing's going on. I have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the area of each is 8. 4 times 8 is 32. And then add those numbers together. 8 plus 32 equals 40, which is my total area. Okay? So what I was saying, some of these fill them in because they're more visual people. They would go in and say, okay, 8 times 4, or 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8, however they do it, is 32, plus 4 is 36, plus 4 is 40. It just depends. Some students are better doing the math algorithm. Some students are better with the visual. Whichever you would like to do. And my answer, and it's meters squared because you're actually multiplying like 4 meters times 2 meters to get 8 meters squared, okay? So it's called a net, but it's looking at surface area of a rectangular prism that's a 3D form. So again, you would fill in the missing parts, then you would find the area of the 2 or 3 or however many shapes that you're doing, and then however many of those shapes you have, and just combine them all, okay? Okay, so I hope that helped. Okay, I want to do another video later where you have an irregular shape. I just wanted to find a really good example to do that. I wanted to do the shape of the rectangular prism first. So again, guys, even though that might have been a little complicated to look at, to see, it's the same steps every time, okay? You are filling in the missing pieces, or filling in the missing links, finding the area of the different shapes, and then adding them all together, okay? So hopefully that helps. If you have any suggestions or anything you want to see, please let me know. If you haven't liked and followed, please do so.